Hi, it's Paul from Model Builder International. Don't forget, the subscribe button is down there. The notifications bell is there as well. Click on that as well, then you get notified of all the future videos. Otherwise, you won't know when new stuff comes out. So today we're going to have a look at a new kit from AJM Models. This is one that we sell in our shop. I'll put a link underneath. I think we keep our prices there pretty competitive, usually about the best you'll find. So anyway, this one is a 1/700 scale HMS Springbank. Okay, so let's see what we get inside the box. Obviously this is AJM Models, 1/700 HMS Springbank, anti-aircraft ship. Basically she was a civilian ship, had a couple of modifications, and then the Fulmar was part of the second modification, I believe, when she turned into a cam ship. So, let's see what we get. We get some bubble wrap. Oh, 2 bags of resin parts, some instructions, and a bag with some wire, some photo etch and some decals. So let's put that out of the way. So look at the main part first. Well, that's the main hull. Solid piece of resin, some bubbles in the bottom, but none in the sides by the looks of it, but the finish is very nice. Blanking detail on the top, some bollards, raised gun platforms. Well, it all looks very nice piece of resin with very little cleanup to do on it. Let's have a look. Instructions, we'll go through some of the steps in a minute, but basically this is obviously paper, we got painting guides called out in life colour numbers and also named, solid colours for the most part, so pretty simple. And then we have, how many steps is there? Let's have a quick look on that one. 2, 3, 4, so 61 steps on, what will it be, 6 sides of paper. So just sort of going through the usual steps, it's round numbers are in resin, so you can find one, there you go. Round numbers, they're resin parts. As before, it's usually squares are photo etch, but maybe not. That's not the case. I'll have to have a look at those and see exactly how it works. Building the catapult ship, basically gun decks, using some of the metal, the brass rod that's supplied, railings, building the bridge, anti-aircraft directors, pom-poms, and then putting it all together, basically build all the superstructure as assemblies and then put them on the main hull. So I'll go through those in a minute. Photo etch. Quite a big sheet, about the length of my hand. I guess there's probably 100 odd parts there. Plenty to go at anyway. Decal sheet. Let's see if I can get that out of there. Some other, I think those are gun shields. Plimsoll lines and Royal Navy ensign. Brass rod is of different diameters for different purposes. And then we've got a whole batch of resin parts there. I'll have a close-up look at some of these when we go through some of the instructions, but they look quite nice. Paravanes. Those are the gun mounts, gun barrels. There'll be close-up shots of all of these on the website as well, so you can see exactly what you're getting. And then in this one we have some of the big parts: superstructure, funnel, life rafts, more superstructure parts. Looks like decks, again with more planking detail on them. So lots of detail on the resin parts. So let's have a quick look at some of the instructions. Just going to go through the main parts and show you the nice detail on some of these resin parts. So HMS Springbank started life in May 1926 as motor vessel Springbank, a merchant ship. In November 1939 she was requisitioned by the Admiralty and was converted to an anti-aircraft vessel. That was completed in October 1940. She was commissioned in November 1940. That gave her 4 twin 4-inch gun turrets and 2 quadruple pom-pom guns. In March 1941 she's converted to a fighter catapult ship, basically with a cordite powered catapult amidships and a Fulmer fighter from 804 Squadron Fleet Air Arm. And in September 1941 she was hit by 2 torpedoes from U-201 and sank. Basically these ships converted from merchant ships had no internal compartmentalization, so they were easily susceptible to single hits. So, history in plastic and resin. Basically, there isn't any. I can't find any record of anybody having done HMS Springbank before. All I can find is a 1/1250th scale 3D printed model on Shapeways, and to say it's basic is an understatement. Inside the box we have about 88 resin parts plus solid hull. PE sheet is packed with about 300 parts, another small PE sheet with 4 parts, Decals sheet, assorted brass rods of various diameters, and 4 sheets of double-sided paper, giving us a page of the parts layout, 6 pages of build instructions. And now onto the build itself. Starting off on page 1, basically we follow a pretty sensible process. Start off by building small sub-assemblies, then larger assemblies, and then we build everything together. So starting off on page 1, basically we're building small sub-assemblies such as ship's boats. The masts get put together. We assemble the ferry Fulmer. Having the ferry Fulmer actually dates this ship. Basically this is as she was between March 1941 and when she was sunk in September 1941. And on this page also the main turrets get put together. Basically we're just building lots of small sub-assemblies. One thing I will say about this page, it seems to cover steps 1 to 28, but it looks like steps 18, 19 and 26 are actually missing. But I think it's just a numbering error rather than an actual steps are missing thing. On page 2, again with the sub-assemblies, start off by building the catapult. I noticed that the PE that AJM use seems a bit thinner than other PE I've used in the past, so you have to take a bit of care with it. That's another reason why these AJM's kits are not for novice users. You know, the resin and the PE are probably a little bit more unforgiving than most. Anyway, moving down, then we add some the decks onto the main hull. Main hull looks very nice detail on it already, and basically we're just going to put assemblies on here as we complete them. Then down to the bottom we assemble forward and aft superstructure assemblies with turrets, brass rod and more small resin parts. Again, nice detail on the resin superstructure parts. Page 3 seems to mostly be about adding railings to the main deck forward and aft, and also you get the choice of a ladder down the side of the ship down to the waterline. A few small resin parts go in here as well, some small assemblies you created in the first page or so, but overall mostly photo etch railings. Page 4, now we're working basically amidships for the most part. The main superstructure amidships, adding railings on the higher decks. Ship's catapult goes in here. Basically, once you've got the railings on, a few resin parts go on, and then you're adding in more sub-assemblies that you created in earlier steps. Page 5 is basically the forward end of the main superstructure, basically the bridge. You put that together from some larger parts, add on some sub-assemblies you created on the first page. Looks like the anti-aircraft director sits on top of the bridge, that goes in here. You'll have to form some of the brass rod you were given to a specific shape. Other than that, just basically building the bridge superstructure part. Page 6 with the last two steps. Basically you take the hull and you add on the last assemblies, which is the main superstructure midships, the bridge, and the two main masts. They go on at the very end, and then that's the build complete. So, paints and decals. Paints are mostly called out in the life colour range. Interestingly, one colour is called out in the Humble range and another colour is called out in the Tamiya range. I presume that's to get exact matches. The painting scheme seems reasonably straightforward. There's no ship's camouflage, just painting areas of the ship in certain colours. Decal sheet, you get a small decal sheet with a couple of Union Jacks. Decals for the Fulmer are on there as well, and also draft lines are there as well. So should be everything you need is there. So an overall conclusion. Well, the level of detail on the kit is very good. You've got 300 plus parts of photo etch, almost 100 parts of resin. So the level of detail is there. It's definitely has the potential to make a very nicely detailed ship. Lots of small parts. You'll need your magnifiers to get things done. You're obviously working with resin as well, need to take precautions with that as well. If there is no competition for models of HMS Springbank, so if you want one of these ships, these are basically the only people on the market supplying one. So overall it's a very nice little kit. You'll need some experience with resin and photo etch, but the potential is here to make a very nice little kit indeed.